Before you dive into your day, I want you to stop for just a moment. Not to think, not to plan, just to be still, because something is already happening inside you, something quiet and real, and it deserves your attention. The version of you that has spent years wrestling with money, feeling like it's always just out of reach, always a source of stress, that version isn't permanent. It's loosening its grip, and something new is beginning to take its place. A version of you for whom financial ease isn't a fantasy, but a natural state of being. This isn't a pep talk you'll forget in an hour. Think of it as an invitation to make a decision at a deeper level, a quiet inner shift that actually sticks. For the next few minutes, don't just absorb these words passively. Read them as the person who already understands that money isn't just a numbers game. It's an inside game. Read them as someone who knows that what you carry within you eventually shows up around you. Today isn't just another day. It can be the day something fundamentally changes in how you relate to money. Not through grinding or forcing, but through something far more powerful, alignment. Let these words go deeper than your surface thoughts. Let them gently soften the doubt that's been sitting in your chest. Let them chip away at the fear. Let them build something steadier in its place. Money isn't some foreign thing that visits certain people and avoids others. It responds to what's happening inside you. And right now, you're choosing to become someone it naturally moves toward. Here's something worth sitting with. You don't wait for your bank account to change before you start feeling like things are working out. You feel like things are working out, and then the bank account changes. That's not wishful thinking. That's just how creation actually operates. Most people have it backwards. They stare at their situation, their bills, their balance, and they say, when this gets better, then I'll feel okay. But that keeps the whole thing frozen. Real financial security isn't something you wait to receive. It's something you choose to feel before the evidence arrives. Your inner world has to shift first. The outer world follows. This idea of assuming the wish fulfilled means mentally stepping into the version of you who already has what you want. Not hoping for it, not visualizing it from a distance, but actually inhabiting it. If money were already flowing into your life right now, how would you be moving through your day? What would your thoughts feel like? What would your posture be, your energy, your sense of self? That version of you isn't a future fantasy. It's available to you right now as a state you can choose. Try closing your eyes for a moment and placing yourself in a simple scene. You pick up your phone and there's unexpected financial news, something that makes you exhale with relief. Let yourself actually feel that. The lightness in your chest, the quiet gratitude, the sense that things are working. That feeling isn't escapism. It's creation happening. When you genuinely hold that emotional state, life begins to reorganize itself around it. The outer world always catches up to what you've consistently held inside, though often with a delay. So if you keep waiting for outside change before you shift inside, you're always chasing your own tail. The move is to think from abundance, not toward it. When you think towards something, you stay permanently in a state of reaching for it, which means it stays out of reach. But when you think from it, you've already crossed the threshold in your inner world. Instead of wondering whether it will happen, you begin to sense that it already is. That shift does something powerful. It replaces anxious uncertainty with a grounded kind of confidence. And that confidence feels nothing like desperation. Desperation actually pushes things away because it signals to everything inside you that you're lacking. Calm certainty, on the other hand, draws things in. The financially stable version of you isn't frantic or scattered. That person is settled, clear-headed, and grateful. Your job is to start embodying that now. If nothing around you seems to reflect this yet, don't let it throw you off. Think about what happens when you plant a seed. You don't dig it up every morning to check on it. You trust that something is happening beneath the surface even when you can't see it. Inner assumptions work the same way. Once you set the intention internally and stay loyal to it, things begin to move in ways you can't always track directly. Your imagination isn't a toy. It's the blueprint that your lived experience eventually follows. What you repeatedly feel and accept as real on the inside becomes the structure your outer life organizes itself around. So today, carry the inner assumption that money is already finding its way to you. Assume that openings are forming, that ideas are surfacing, that things are quietly turning in your favor. You're not waiting for a sign before you believe it. You're staying steady in the assumption itself. When doubt creeps in, and it will, you simply return to the feeling of already having it. When fear shows up, you remind yourself that the inner decision is already made. It's that persistence in holding your inner state that gradually makes it real. Not force, not struggle, just steady alignment. Life begins to transform when you stop reacting to it and start creating from within it. What you keep assuming with genuine feeling becomes your actual experience. And right now you're choosing to step into wealth as something present, not as something you're still waiting for. From this point forward, let your identity shift. You are no longer someone sitting in a waiting room hoping money shows up. You are someone for whom financial flow is simply how things work. Money doesn't respond only to desire. It responds to identity. It reflects back whoever you've convinced yourself you are. So release the old pattern of waiting and worrying. Step into the version of you who already knows abundance is in motion. Live from that mentally. Come back to it whenever you drift. And watch as everything outside you slowly begins to catch up to what you've already accepted within. Right now, there are essentially two versions of you in awareness. One still experiences money as something unpredictable, something chaste, something that depends on luck or timing or other people deciding in your favor. The other feels steady and grounded and naturally in the flow of receiving. Neither is more real than the other. What makes one more real is simply which one you keep choosing to occupy. Your identity is the root of your entire experience. If you've been running on a self-concept of someone who always struggles financially, that story has been quietly shaping everything. Your interpretations, your hesitations, your automatic reactions. All of it reinforces the pattern without you even noticing. But the moment your self-image shifts, something reorganizes at a deep level. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your emotional responses settle down. Even the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you walk into a room begins to change. And because life is always reflecting your inner assumptions back to you, it responds to that shift too. You don't need anyone outside yourself to validate this change. You just need to accept it internally. So ask yourself honestly, if money were already flowing easily through my life, what would my thoughts feel like right now? Would I be spiraling over a small expense? Would I be second guessing every little opportunity? Would I be speaking about my finances from a place of fear? Of course not. The version of you that is financially secure operates from a completely different energy. Things are expected to work out. Money feels like it moves naturally, not because of luck, but because that's just how life works for that person. Start thinking from that place rather than toward it. In the morning, instead of waking up and hoping money shows up today, shift it internally to money naturally comes to me. That might seem like a small change in wording, but it reflects a massive difference in where you're standing. One is rooted in uncertainty, the other in settled conviction. When you operate from identity, the desperation falls away. You stop asking life to give you permission. You simply take your place in financial ease. You begin to feel what stability actually feels like in your body. Not an excited buzz, not tension, but a quiet, grounded calm. The financially secure version of you trusts that things work out. That version sees openings where others see dead ends. And this is the version you are now learning to actually be, not just imagine. Wealth doesn't come from outer effort alone. It grows out of a stable inner sense of self. Every decision you make should flow from that foundation. When you're faced with something, pause and ask yourself what the financially confident version of me would do here. Then move from that. Identity shapes expectation. Expectation shapes what you notice. When you expect ease and flow, you begin seeing opportunities that were always there but previously invisible to you. Ideas start surfacing. Connections become clearer. Confidence builds on its own. At first, the shift feels subtle. You might not even be sure anything is different. But over time, it becomes undeniable. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone trying to get money and start seeing yourself as someone who naturally receives it, your entire inner world begins to move. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You're not claiming to be above anyone. You're simply choosing a conscious relationship with wealth. And once you make that choice, your task is to stay loyal to it. Old thoughts will try to pull you back. They'll remind you of past failures, current limitations, moments that didn't work out. But those belong to an older version of you. You are no longer required to live from that story. Every time you return to your new self-concept, the old one weakens a little more. Every time you affirm internally that you are supported, the new foundation becomes a little stronger. Think of your mindset like clothing. When you're wearing a mindset of scarcity, everything feels tight and heavy and constricted. But when you put on a mindset of abundance, things feel more open, lighter, like there's room to breathe and move. So consciously choose what you're wearing every single day. Move through your hours dressed in financial confidence. Even if the outer world hasn't caught up yet, that's completely fine. Identity always shifts first. Experience follows. The more natural your new self-concept becomes, the faster your outer life begins to mirror it. Money isn't attracted to desperation. It flows toward inner certainty, toward the person who feels stable and grounded rather than tense and grasping. So start now. Identify as the version of you who already has financial flow. Think from that place, feel from that place, make decisions from that place, and allow your reality to rearrange itself around that choice. Money isn't first experienced in the external world. Before it ever appears in your account or your wallet, it exists as a felt sense inside your nervous system, either as security or as lack. This is why emotion is not just some side note in all of this. It's actually at the center. If you want money to move in your direction, you have to generate the feeling of already having it. Many people try to think their way into abundance, repeating affirmations or running through quick visualizations. But without genuine emotional depth behind it, nothing truly moves. A thought without feeling behind it is weak. An image held without any real sensory experience attached to it has very little creative power. What actually impresses the deeper mind and begins transformation is emotional acceptance. The feeling has to be real, not performed. So sit with this. If you received exactly what you've been wanting financially today, how would you feel? Relief? A deep exhale? Gratitude? Freedom? The quiet satisfaction of knowing things worked out? Let those feelings rise right now, without waiting for any outer confirmation. Don't hold back because you haven't seen evidence yet. Create the emotion deliberately within yourself. Close your eyes if you need to. Picture something simple and specific. Maybe you're glancing at your phone and noticing something has shifted in your favor. Maybe you're calmly sharing good news with someone you care about. Maybe you're just sitting quietly with a sense of deep relief settled into your chest. Keep it simple. Make it feel real. Notice your breathing, your posture, the ease in your body. Give yourself enough time to actually inhabit that state, rather than just skim the surface of it. Your body does not make a sharp distinction between a vivid internal experience and an actual physical event. When you hold a feeling with enough depth and detail, your subconscious begins to accept it as real. And once it's accepted at that level, your outer world starts to quietly reorganize to match it. Emotion is magnetic. Consistent feelings of fear and scarcity pull more of that experience toward you. Consistent feelings of grounded financial security begin drawing in experiences that match. So today, choose the feeling first. Let it become your foundation. Everything else can build from there. What you're really doing through all of this is bringing yourself into alignment with a new inner state, not forcing outcomes into existence through sheer will. It's not magic, it's coherence. Your emotional atmosphere is what your outer reality takes its shape from. Whatever you consistently carry inside yourself becomes the tone that life echoes back to you. Don't confuse real faith with intense excitement. The emotional state that actually reflects wealth is usually quiet. It feels like things are handled. It feels like a long exhale after weeks of pressure. It's calm. It's stable. It's not urgent or hyped up. That's the state you're aiming for. Not a performance of positivity, but a genuine inner settledness. When you practice returning to this state regularly, especially at the start of your day, your mind starts to default there on its own. And gradually your reactions throughout the day begin to shift. You stop overreacting to small financial hiccups. You stop interpreting delays as evidence that things aren't working. You stop feeling threatened by circumstances that are only temporary. This happens because internally you already feel taken care of, and when that inner sense of support becomes your normal, the gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close. The more often you return to the feeling of financial security, the more natural it becomes. And what feels natural stops feeling distant. If doubt shows up, you don't need to fight it or convince yourself it's wrong. Just come back to the feeling. Breathe, reconnect with the inner picture you've been building. Let gratitude come back in. You're training your inner world to hold steady in confidence rather than collapse into worry. Repetition is what makes this work. Repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity grows into belief. Belief deepens into emotional certainty. And emotional certainty is what actually creates change in your outer life. Right now, even as you're taking all of this in, let a quiet sense of gratitude settle into you. Imagine looking back at the end of today and feeling like something shifted right here in this moment. Hold that possibility as if it has already happened. Let that subtle satisfaction exist in your chest right now. Money is not separate from your inner condition. It mirrors it. So rather than waiting for it to show up before you allow yourself to feel okay, generate the feeling now. Relief, calm, stability, quiet confidence. Let those fill your system. Because when your internal emotional reality becomes more solid than what you currently see around you, the outer world doesn't have a choice. It adjusts. And this is where most people quit. When nothing outside seems to be changing, when things look exactly the same as yesterday, that is the actual test. Not when life is easy, not when everything is going your way, but when nothing appears different and you still hold your state anyway. Circumstances are not causes. They're effects. They're reflections of inner patterns that already happened. If you react to your current circumstances with fear, you just keep feeding the same cycle. But if you observe them without letting them pull you back into your old identity, the cycle starts to break. What you see right now is your past made visible. It's not a verdict on your future. Even if your situation looks exactly the same today as it did a month ago, that is not the final word. It's just an echo of an older state. Your new identity doesn't bend to that. You acknowledge what you see, but you don't let it define you. Inner reality leads. Outer reality follows. So when doubt says nothing has changed, you quietly remind yourself that it's already shifting. When fear insists on uncertainty, you return to the calm knowing that it's already in motion. This is not self-deception. This is discipline. It's emotional mastery. The reason most people don't experience the shift they're looking for is that they hold the feeling for a short time and then fall back into worry the moment something wobbles. Consistency is everything. You planted a seed, you don't dig it up every few hours to see if it grew. You trust what's happening underground. You protect it. You let it develop in its own time. In the same way, once you've chosen financial stability as your inner foundation, you guard it. You steer away from conversations and thought patterns that erode it. You nourish it through repetition and genuine feeling. You still move through life practically and responsibly, but now your actions come from a place of confidence rather than desperation. You move with the quiet knowing that things are aligning, even when you can't see the exact path forward. There will be moments when your senses try to drag you back into old thinking. That is completely normal. But now you're learning something different. You believe first. The evidence comes later. You stay connected to the reality you've accepted internally and let that be your anchor. Remind yourself that things are unfolding beyond what you can currently see. Opportunities are forming. Connections are being made. Solutions are in motion. Every time you choose not to spiral into panic, you strengthen your new identity. Every time you pull back from complaining or catastrophizing, you reinforce your inner assumption. Every time you choose trust over fear, you accelerate alignment. The outer world may seem slow to respond, but it cannot hold out forever against a steady inner conviction. Eventually, it has to reflect it. So even if today looks unchanged, stay steady. If tomorrow still looks the same, stay steady again. It's your loyalty to this inner state that bridges the space between what you've assumed and what you've actually lived. Hold it. Feel it. Remain rooted in the quiet certainty that financial ease is already moving through you. Let everything outside unfold in its own time. Stop giving power to surface-level appearances. The inner assumption you're holding is quietly shaping everything that's about to show up in your life. Every financial experience you've ever had began first in consciousness. Not in a job, not in a transaction, not in an economy. It started in the invisible interior space of thought, awareness, and belief. There is always a state of consciousness that makes wealth possible, and that state is the true beginning point of every material shift. Consciousness isn't just the act of thinking. It's who you understand yourself to be. It's your identity, your emotional defaults, your deeply held expectations, the assumptions you live inside of without even questioning them. If you're unconsciously living as someone unsupported by life, reality will keep presenting you with instability. If you're living as someone who is financially secure and provided for, life reflects support and flow back to you. The outer world cannot contradict whatever inner state you're consistently occupying. It can only mirror it. Most people live without ever realizing this. They run on autopilot, replaying financial fear, bracing for problems, quietly expecting things not to work out. Even when they try to think positively, there's a deeper undercurrent of anxiety still running the show. And naturally, life mirrors that dominant inner condition. To shift your financial reality, you have to shift what you're conscious of being. Ask yourself honestly, what am I identifying as right now? Someone who never quite has enough? Or someone who is consistently supported by life? The shift starts with simply noticing your automatic patterns. When you're not trying to control your thoughts, what do you default to? Do you tense up around money? Do you assume difficulty? Do you automatically brace for delay? Those reactions tell you what your current state of consciousness actually is. Now deliberately step into something different. Begin to see yourself as someone life naturally supports, someone money flows toward, someone things work out for. This isn't about forcing fake positivity. It's about inhabiting a different state. When you repeatedly return to the thought that you are financially secure, something subtle but real begins to shift. Your baseline starts to change. And when your baseline changes, your outer experience reorganizes itself around it. Think of consciousness like a lens. The lens you're looking through determines how everything appears to you. Through a lens of lack, even real opportunities look risky or untrustworthy. Through a lens of abundance, even challenges start looking like stepping stones. Change the lens and the whole landscape changes with it. What you habitually assume shapes your reality far more than what you occasionally think. This is why daily repetition matters so much. This is why starting your day in alignment is worth protecting. You're training your awareness to accept financial ease as your normal. When something feels normal, it stops feeling like something you're straining toward. It becomes expected. And what's genuinely expected has a way of showing up. Think about how you breathe. You don't question it, you don't worry about it, there's no resistance around it, it just happens. Financial support needs to start feeling that natural within you. When it becomes familiar on the inside, resistance begins to dissolve. You are not at the mercy of luck or economic forces or other people's decisions. Those are secondary influences at most. The primary force is always your own consciousness. Life organizes itself around your dominant inner conviction. This doesn't mean action disappears from your life. Action will still happen. But it will feel different, inspired rather than desperate, clear rather than frantic. Decisions will come more easily. Timing will feel more right. You'll be moving from inner certainty instead of outer panic. What matters most is consistency. Keep returning to your chosen identity. Guard it, reinforce it, stay loyal to it even when nothing outside has changed yet. Right now, bring yourself back into the awareness of being financially supported. Let it feel simple. Let it feel settled. Not something you're grasping for, but something you're quietly accepting as true. When consciousness truly accepts wealth as natural, the outer world begins to mirror that acceptance back. You're no longer waiting for money to decide how your life goes. Your inner state is already shaping it. Notice something right now. Something has settled in you that wasn't quite there before you began reading this. There's a quieter mind, a more stable feeling, a sense of certainty sitting where doubt was. Carry that. Don't immediately go looking for evidence. Don't try to predict the how or the when. Your responsibility isn't to figure out the mechanics. Your responsibility is simply to remain aligned with the knowing that it's already in motion. Walk through your day from that identity. Think from it. Speak from it. Expect from it. Let your actions rise from confidence rather than lack. And when money does arrive, whether through an idea, an opportunity, a connection, or something you didn't see coming at all, receive it calmly. Let it feel like a natural confirmation of what you already accepted within yourself, not a lucky surprise. The more you return to this inner state, the more it becomes simply who you are. Until abundance isn't something you're reaching for anymore. It's just something you are. Your reality is already shifting. Your financial identity is already reorganizing itself. And from here, everything is moving toward alignment. Stay steady. Stay aware. Remain in that quiet certainty. Because ultimately, it comes down to this one simple truth. Your outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. What you consistently assume, feel, and accept within yourself is the silent force that shapes your financial reality. Nothing begins outside. It always begins in consciousness, in how you see yourself, in the identity you choose to live from every day. Keep choosing it. Guard it. Live from it until it feels like second nature. Because when your consciousness settles fully into wealth, life has no choice but to mirror it back.